If you've ever wanted to learn the art of catching flathead, well, keep watching. I'm going to do a whole series, a bit of a masterclass if you like, on the locations, the tackle, jigging them up on soft plastics, trolling them up on hard bodies, even using bait, and even some of the behaviours of the flathead we'll cover. And right at the very end, we'll fillet them and cook a couple up with some of my favourite flathead recipes. Look, if you're a beginner, you're going to learn heaps. But if you've been fishing for a fair while and want to learn a bit more about trolling or a bit more about jigging or a bit more about flathead behaviour, there's a lot of myths with flathead. There's a lot to cover, so I'm going to do it in this series. And we're going to start right now with the locations you'll catch flathead in. A lot of the stuff I read and see on YouTube about catching flathead, you'd think flathead live everywhere. They say, yeah, they're in deep holes, yeah, they're on weed beds, yeah, they're up on the shallows, they're up on the beaches, they're on pretty much everywhere. No, let's simplify all that. Let's get out on the water and I'll show you exactly where you'll find flathead. So it's now dead low tide. One of my favourite fishing spots is, as you look around, there's heaps of weed, there's heaps of little shallow creeks all running into this main channel, and that just makes the flathead so much more concentrated. With all these weed beds the way they are, all the mullet, whiting, garfish, everything has to move off, and they have to move into this deep channel. The flathead also have to move off, so they'll be in this channel as well, and hopefully we'll start catching a few. You've got a really nice distinct weed edge here because you can see the tide's so low that the weed is sticking out of the water. Makes it very easy to work that weed edge. We don't want to spook the flathead that is sitting there, so I'm going into the current and I'm casting so that my jig head comes back towards the boat with the current, and that way any fish that I run over the top of, I've already run a lure past, so I'm less likely to spook any fish that I'm sneaking up on. We're going to catch a flathead off this weed edge for sure. Oh yeah, there's one. Here he comes. Oh, he's a nice fish. Come on, champion. Straight in the net, yeah. Oh, that's a great fish. Just thrown right at the very edge of the weed and working it along the weed edge and going with the current, just like I was talking about. Paid off. Is probably a 50-55 centimetre fish, so very happy with that. I'll let him go. Yeah. Oh, I dropped him. Oh, he came back for it. He came back for it. Oh, he's scaring all the bait. Oh, that's another good flatty. Nice, right in the lips. I'll lift him straight in. Yeah, look at that. Geez, they're good fish. Make it easy work when you're cruising along the bank like this. Yep, straight away. Oh, that's a good fish too. That's a real good fish. Didn't even get a wind on the handle. You ripper. There we go, nice and easy on him because I've got really light leader. Jeez, he's a good fish. Haven't seen him yet, but I'm thinking he's a cracker. Come on, champion. It is a good fish. It's a great fish. The fish have been so small because it's the middle of winter. But here's a nice fish. Oh yeah! Look at that! We've just been cruising along that weed edge. The weed edge is so visible, and there's that little Berkeley sticking out of his mouth there. So there he is, great fish. And he needs a swim, so I'm going to put him back in the water. So this place is probably unrecognisable now, but early in the clip where we're jigging at low tide, this is the exact spot we were, where we saw all the weed beds, all the mud flats draining into this channel. What I've done is I've marked this channel on the sounder So as you can see on the sounder here, all those dots is where the deep channel is. And now that it's high tide, I can cast up onto those flats and still work the weed edges. High tide's probably not as productive as low tide. I love low tide because it's the flathead are concentrated in such a small area, but we're still going to catch fish along this weed edge here at the top of the tide. Yep, and there's a fish. Very nice. You can lift him straight in actually, because he's just hooked right in the lip there. And there you go. I've got to say, I don't think it's as productive as shallow water jigging at low tide, but as you can see, it's good fun and you still get plenty of fish. Yeah, yes. Oh, good fish too. Every time on the light line, they're good fish. There is a great fish. Come here, champion. So there you go. Low tide is definitely the best time to catch fish because you can see those weed edges and those shallows, and you can stay in those deep channels where all the flathead and bait fish have got to come at the bottom of the tide. But don't dismiss high tide. If that's the only time you get out for a fish, that's fine, but work the same areas and don't be afraid to get that lure right up in the shallow stuff where those flathead are hunting those little bait fish up on the flats.